PM. Invocation will be given to us by Councilmember Cornell, and then we'll resume the regular agenda. If anybody wishing to join us, can do so by standing.
Dear Heavenly Father, we ask your blessings on the people who have been called to lead our community. Grant us the wisdom and courage to know and do what is right, good, and true. May we speak out when it's time to speak out, and listen patiently when it's time to listen. May we always be guided by your spirit of community and by your love. This we pray, what is good, right, and true. We pause this afternoon to pray for Israel. In Psalm chapter 122:6, it reads, "Pray for the peace of Jerusalem." Father, we ask that you intercede and stop the bloodshed in Israel and the Middle East. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Very good, thank you for that. We're gonna move on to item 3, discuss renewal of software maintenance between City of Odessa and SHI Government Solutions for the Microsoft license. Mr. Flores.
Mr. Mayor, Council. So this is a consideration of renewal of the software maintenance between City of Odessa and SHI for our Microsoft License Enterprise Agreement. The amount is $408,288.30. Essentially what this is it's all our Microsoft environment, so our Azure cloud, our on-prem SQL servers, our emails, OneNote, Excel, everything Microsoft essentially is wrapped up in this 3-year package. This is year 3 of 3, so we really can't make changes to it because we do a 3-year deal, but it's up. And this is Daniel Rodriguez. He's our Microsoft guy, and we'll be going through this to see if any changes need to be made for this next 3-year contract.
This is why I can't get on? Still trying to get on. Council, do you have any questions?
So after this year renewal, next year we'll be coming back for another 3-year renewal?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Tony, are you comfortable with this contract? You have any concerns or questions?
There's some stuff that we'll take out. There's things that we aren't using. I mean, there's small changes. I want to say there's some. Where did we have the VS Code stuff? I don't think anybody's using that. I'm gonna say Daniel already verified it. So there's 7 licenses.
What is it called? VS Code?
Yeah, it's just something you would use if you're a programmer. Right now, there's free stuff out there that we can use, so we really don't.
So there's gonna be some slight modifications after this year.
Correct. Yeah, there'll be
Okay.
some slight modification.
I'm gonna say, cause you know what, yeah, we're all astute on this contract, so that's why I'm asking you if there's any concerns you have. You're comfortable with it, I think that we as a council will be comfortable with it. We're gonna refer to you.
Okay, yeah.
It may not be your fault, but you're gonna take the blame. if it goes wrong.
Good or bad?
Good or bad.
No worries.
If you're comfortable with it, let's go ahead and proceed. and we'll
Yes, sir.
Put it on the agenda. We good?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on to item 4, discuss the early subscription of ESO fire reporting system. Jarvis. When are we ever gonna see the chief over here give a presentation?
Tried to get us to him, Mayor, but he didn't want it. Thank you, Mayor, and
Delegated
council.
authority. There you go, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. So we're asking for your approval on this for a yearly subscription of ESO Fire. Just to kind of catch you guys up, currently we use ERS for our fire documentation. They were bought out by ESO. ESO's become the industry leader. That's who we actually use for our EMS side of things. So our plan here is we want to kind of consolidate it all under one vendor. So this is a good opportunity to do that. We've been working with IT, with Tony, and we came to a good agreement here on trying to get this under one contract, and it's going to be $57,159.46. And as you can see there, the account they'd be coming out of. And again, this is going to help us meet those federal and state requirements.
So what is the fire reporting system real quick, in a nutshell?
Sure. Yeah. So it's called INFIRS. It's a National Fire Incident Reporting. That's one of the federal mandates that anytime we have any type of fire incident, we have to document certain parameters that's in that report. anything from, you know, like, property loss value to, you know, even all the way up to like, you know, lost life, those sorts of things. And it also has a lot to do with the arson side of things.
Yeah. Okay, so, the reason why I'm asking questions, I can't see this.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm asking, okay, I usually could be able to read it, but I can't get in there yet. Council, we have any questions? Any
Good,
comments?
ERS, when it was absorbed by the ESO, the prices for that didn't change? Or did it
Yeah,
go
that's
up a
good.
little bit?
Good question, Councilman. There is a slight increase, in comparison, but we did see that the ESO Fire has a lot more to offer too. They actually offer a scheduling platform that's gonna help with like our payroll systems and just a lot, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna work with Munis. So there was a few things, that we, you know, that we got on top of ERS. And ERS is currently still in service, but it will probably end up, going out of service in 2024.
Being compatible with Munis, that's huge.
Yeah, it is, yes, sir. So,
Council, any further questions, discussion?
Straightforward, yeah.
Chuck, I appreciate that, thank you much.
thank you, Mayor.
We're gonna move on to item 5, discuss bid award for liquid gas chlorine for the use of water treatment plant. Mr. Niles.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Council. Each year, the city awards a bid for delivery of liquid gas chlorine, which is used for the disinfection of our water treatment plant and our Bob Darrington plant. The sole bidder on this year was DX Group, DPC Industries. They have agreed to deliver 1-ton cylinders at a cost of $2,429 and 130-pound cylinders at $310. The total annual expenditure is expected to be about $100,000. This is budgeted under the chemicals and insecticides budget for both line items.
Council, any questions? Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, just curious about, have you seen, is that about the same as last year?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
I'm not seeing, okay, I'm just curious, we're using more chemicals because population's growing, I just,
No, it's about average with last year's usage.
good, thanks.
The supply is readily available.
Yes, as of right now, yes.
Yeah.
I could change tomorrow. All right, Mr. Ellis, anything else on this?
Nope.
All right, appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on to, item 6. Discuss answers to council's questions regarding, bringing fuel back under control of the city. Mr. Adams.
Mayor, council, Mr. Mayor, since you don't have access, I will read the letter that was,
Thank you, sir, I appreciate that.
that was sent. Dear Mr. Adams, I trust this letter finds you well. As the fuel supplier responsible for providing the above-ground fuel storage 2085 fuel vault tanks and associated equipment to the city, I would like to address concerns that have been raised regarding liability in relation to these assets. First and foremost, I would like to assure the City Council that we take safety and environmental responsibility very seriously. It is our commitment to uphold to the highest standards in the handling and storage of fuels. Typically, in cases involving fuel storage, the fuel supplier assumes liability for any spills occurring during the refueling process. The standard practice is designed to hold the party responsible for fuel transportation and delivery accountable for any mishaps during the fuel transfer to the storage tanks. In addition, our commitment to responsible fuel handling, the above ground fuel storage 2085 fuel vault tanks we provide undergo rigorous pressure testing before installation. 2085 tanks have an outer wall constructed of concrete and certified as ballistic proof. Furthermore, the double wall construction of these tanks is specifically designed to offer comprehensive spill containment in the event of any damage that might cause a leak. The tank construction safety measures for 2085 tanks are built to contain and minimize the risk of spills and environmental impact. We are aware of the City Council's concerns, particularly regarding the potential liability arising from operator error or negligence during the refueling of city equipment, whereby the city would be held responsible. To address these concerns comprehensively, we propose the following measures. 1, safety protocols and training. We will work closely with city personnel to evaluate and enhance existing safety protocols and employee training programs related to fueling systems. Our goal is to ensure that city employees are well prepared and equipped to handle refueling procedures safely. 2, emergency response planning. Together with the city, we will develop a robust emergency response plan tailored to fuel spills. This plan will outline clear procedures, responsibilities, and available resources to address any incidents promptly and effectively. Liability framework. We are open to collaborating with the city to establish a mutually agreed upon framework that clearly defines liability in the event of fuel-related incidents. The collaborative approach will help safeguard the city's interest while ensuring a fair allocation of responsibilities. And in closing, we hope the proposed measures demonstrate our commitment to addressing the city council's concerns and ensuring the safe and responsible operation of the above ground fuel storage 2085 fuel vault tanks provided by our company. We look forward to engaging in constructive dialogue with the city council to further discuss these matters and establish a framework that ensures the highest level of safety, environmental responsibility, and liability management.
Council, any discussion?
I've got a couple of questions. I understand what they're saying, but I'm still concerned about what happens if somebody tosses a stick of dynamite or one of those things and shoots it. I mean, it's a liability for us, and that's what's really bothering me the most. It's not what they do, it's what might happen with all this stuff we're seeing going on, with all this vandalism and
Understand?
that's a real concern to me. And I guess my next question, with that being a lead-in, is have we explored the gas card systems and the locations for those people? A lot of the, oil field companies use those gas card stations, and there's quite a few of them around. I know that probably won't help, Station 9 out there at 87th Street right now, but there seems to be quite a few of them around the city, and so that's just a question.
We have explored it. WEX, who we currently use, is the largest provider. However, we don't get the same discounts. We don't get any special treatment, such as if there is a freeze or power outage, anything like that. We have no way of getting fuel. If they're shut down, we're shut down. Or if we bring it back under our own control, we have the security of our own fuel. In the event of a natural disaster, power outage, etc., we can connect a generator to it and we're self-sufficient again.
Okay, but it sounds like, I'm sorry, my phone wasn't on. It sounds like, it looks like to me you put a backup generator on it up front, would you not?
Most of the locations actually have backup generators.
Do they?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, that's just a concern I've got. It's a liability, and I know they won't give us a hold harmless. I mean, they won't do that, and so.
And so basically, we're gonna be, what you just read, we're basically gonna negotiate what they're gonna be liable for.
Right, they will be liable for the fueling of the tank on that side of it at all times, no matter what. We'll be responsible for any issues with, our personnel filling something and driving off with the hose in it. But as far as if it blows up, they're certified ballistic proof. If there's anything like that, any stuff like that, that would be something that they would, I'm assuming their attorney and you would work out the agreement.
Yeah, I don't know what ballistic proof, how expansive is that? Does that mean
They said that
a
they,
BB gun or a?
they said they shot it with
Stand up to
a,
38 special.
Yeah.
there's YouTube videos, they shot the tank with a 50 caliber at 100 yards
Yeah.
and it did not penetrate it.
There's more than one liner vents too.
Yes,
It's got a concrete
Two
line,
cars.
I saw that.
yes.
But it's just, I just know those other things are already set up and going.
Not too many people running around with 50 cans in the city.
No,
That's
no,
what
no.
I would do.
So but basically, Mayor, what I'm hearing is we probably need to put these behind fences and.
Well, I think that we're gonna have them behind in
At the fire
at the fire stations.
Correct,
Yeah.
they'll all be secured.
They'll be all
At Pool Road, they'll be behind the fence. At, the time machine, they'll be behind the fence. Fire stations, we can place them behind the fence.
That's something I would say, that we'll work out something with our attorneys to come up with.
Nothing's 100%, but there's just some concern.
Well,
Gotta see something we can't see.
And that's part of what I wanna do here, because ultimately, I'm trying to always figure, okay, let's expect the unexpected. What do we know that we don't know? What could possibly happen out of the blue? So we'll just work and do what we gotta do with the attorneys. Go with it.
Always
Get
comes
council,
down to
give
the
the permission to go
attorney.
forward.
Did we decide on which plan we were gonna go with? I know there are three different options.
Yeah, there were 3 vendors,
We
6
slept
different
in-
options.
We slept.
I
in
didn't think we had.
I don't think we did make a decision on that.
We didn't, I recommended,
We should look at your recommendation.
it was Fleet Lube option 1, which the vendor provides all equipment at no upfront cost, including installation, labor, and all materials. We would then pay a 40 cents per gallon over opus on the initial 2 million gallons of fuel to cover the cost of the equipment and installation. After the initial 2 million gallons, our cost per gallon would reduce to 5 cents per gallon over opus into perpetuity.
Don't hit that quick.
And they would handle all maintenance, upgrades, they would maintain the fuel levels, it's touch-free.
For us.
Yeah, for us.
Yeah, and so you know how to monitor Opus?
Sir?
You know how to monitor Opus?
Yes, sir, I did it in my past life.
I'm just asking a question.
Yes, sir, we actually hedged
I don't
fuel in my
wanna take
past
their-
life.
I don't want to take their word for it.
I actually get an email every morning.
Do you?
Mhm.
That's interesting.
Trust and verify.
Yes.
I would, like to recommend that we do keep a second backup deal of at least having certain people with cards in case we need fuel, just in case,
Mhm.
somewhere down the line.
True.
Yes.
Just to make sure that we're covered all the way around.
In case of emergency, anything like that.
Don't wanna say it, but right now, that's exactly the way we all need to be thinking right now.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that's for you to, figure out, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other further discussion?
I just think it's an excellent idea to get us more independent from what's going on the outside, so we have our own fuel.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Back to, discuss renewal radio system maintenance and support services. Mr. Flo, you should've just told me I was back, put them all together.
This is Roberto Gurry, he's our network infrastructure supervisor. He's gonna be the radio expert if y'all have any
Okay.
detailed questions. But essentially, we're considering radio system maintenance and support services between the city of Odessa and Motorola Solutions. The amount is $447,693 for the duration of October 1st through September 30th of 2024. So essentially, this is a software agreement and hardware agreement of all our radio infrastructure, not the radio, but the infrastructure that the police, PD, and 911 dispatch use. So if anything needs to be patched, upgraded, replaced, this contract covers that. It's a big price tag, but it's such a vital part of what we use, and the expertise is needed.
Okay. So this is a new budget item for, this, 23-24.
It's a renewal, yeah, it's something we pay every year. It's gonna come out of the software maintenance, the GL account is 52275.
Tony, is this the one from, that started in 2016?
I believe so.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's 2016.
Yeah, have so much going on in my little brain.
Yeah, so this is what we're using to upgrade our system for the Midland and Odessa, inter agreement.
Okay.
Yeah, that-
It's free it's not free, I mean, we're paying for it, but we don't have to pay anything extra for them to upgrade our system, so we're compatible, so that both cities can speak.
Tony, you got 2 big ticket items today, you win.
Dinner's on you.
Dinner's on you.
Does that cost of living increase bother you? 'Cause they're saying not, that they have the right to increase the 3% annual increase as set by the CPI of, US Department of Labor. I'm just,
And that's actually,
3%'s pretty.
it's pretty baked into every software, they do between 3 and 10% every year. You'll see these increases between 3% for every software / maintenance contract. You'll see it was Munis, you'll see it was, I mean, pretty much every enterprise vendor will bake in that 3 to 10%.
And Councilman, I thought at 3% we were getting a steal of a deal, because we have seen some of them pushing 8, 9.
Yeah, it's,
So
3% is
just-
on the low end.
It's just, I don't know, it's just the way the software.
I'm just telling you, it won't be free.
Well, I know, but it's,
Yeah.
Our SaaS applications were always sold, it was just across the board, so three's not bad.
Yeah.
Silent times.
Yeah.
Council, any further discussion on this item? So I appreciate it, thank you very much.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
We're gonna move on to item 8, consider rejecting bid for advanced environmental services for the rural commercial structures. Ms. Sandoval. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. At the next council meeting, we're going to ask that you reject the bid that we received for the removal of some commercial structures. A previous meeting was held and 2 contractors attended that meeting, but only 1 contractor turned in a bid for the removal. It was Advanced Environmental Services. Their bid was $275,500, and I left off the number when I typed it, $270,258, I'm sorry. This amount exceeds the amount of money we have available for removal of the structure, so we're asking that the bid be rejected.
What 3 structures, do I recall?
There is, one is like an old apartment complex that's not been lived in forever, with a house on that area. And then there's a smaller concrete building on 510 North Lake.
That's 2 of them there.
The apartment complex plus the house.
Oh.
It's all on one, it's on 2 different properties.
700 and 712 are the same place.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's all owned by the same person.
So, has it been determined to be asbestos in the buildings?
Yes, we've had the asbestos study done.
So this includes removing the asbestos?
This is, they do, we ask them to do, address it as if it has asbestos, so they, do it.
Call it that way.
Yes, they address it that way. Yeah, the concrete building did not have asbestos at all.
So we're gonna reject it, you're gonna send out for another rebid,
We're gonna send out for another rebid, and hopefully we get a better price,
get more people to bid.
hopefully. Yes, sir.
Okay. Council, any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on to item 9, discuss the Amy Bell Sports Complex. Jason?
Hey everyone, good to see you guys again. Fairly quick update, but just wanted to start on a regular cadence of probably monthly updates as we go through this pre-development period, which should take until the end of January. At the end of pre-development is groundbreaking, so we're still on track for late January groundbreaking. But so far through pre-development, we've had a pretty fast-moving start to the design work. And so just wanted to bullet point a couple of things. The site plan for the sports complex campus has been finalized, and you guys all, I believe, got a copy of that. If not, I'll send it back out. Contracts have been signed with architect, civil engineer, cost estimator, and sports field contractors to do their pre-development work. Insurance certificates have all been received. We've coordinated all of the roadway improvements with Mr. Bell based on the site layout, ingress and egress. We've been talking with ODC on the Faudree Road, Amy Bell Road infrastructure project, and so we're working with Chris through that. Geotech and soil boring locations have been coordinated, and those tests are in progress now. On the sponsorship side, we've gone through and identified sponsorable assets. So everything from the outside of a building to a court to a field to a parking lot. And we estimate that there's about $50 million worth of sponsorable assets. Whether or not they all get sponsored, that's going to be part of our next phase. So for the next phase of pre-development, which will be the next month to 6 weeks, will be to finalize the indoor elements. So finalize all of the structures and how the building will be built, what it will include, what the size of different offices will be and rooms and that sort of thing. So in previous iterations, we've had big squares and rectangles, and this is gonna be this. And so now we're getting closer and closer to final construction documents, which will tell us which way the door will swing and what the, pitch is of the roof and that sort of thing. We'll finalize the stormwater, roadways, parking. I know it's been a concern. I think generally speaking of, parking is always a big issue. The site plan as it stands now, has just over 4,000 parking spots. So there will not be an issue. There's 4 to 6 ways to get in and out of the complex through the new Faudree Road and through Amy Road. So we've kind of looked at some of those concerns and have handled it appropriately. We'll complete the subsurface exploration, the borings, and that sort of thing. We'll continue moving the construction documents and the engineering plans to what's called 30% completion over the next month. We'll finalize the naming rights and the advertising rights sponsorship tiers. And so, just to educate everyone, if you don't know, there are naming rights and then there are advertising rights. Naming rights are forever. They help raise capital to build the complex. Advertising rights are renewable, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year terms. They include more of an advertising and marketing slant. So you get your name on the website, you get promotions, you get call outs on social media. Those are advertising rights. They can also be part of naming rights, but naming rights generally don't go away. So if it's ABC Field or Court or Building, you're not necessarily gonna take that name off whenever the term expires, versus an advertising sponsorship where that can flip to a new company or a new logo on a scoreboard or a video board. Those things are transferable. So we'll finish those packages up over the next month, and then we'll finalize financing. And so once we have a pretty good idea of what the building looks like, what it's gonna be made of, the fields, how they're gonna be constructed, we'll have a much more accurate budget that we'll be able to go and finalize all the nuts and bolts with financing. And so really the only ask as we continue over the next few weeks is, Councilman Thompson, I know you've already reached out to a lot of folks on the sponsorship side. And as you all as a group start reaching out to folks or companies or individuals, start to make some connections with me, just so we can start to get an idea of what they're looking for out of naming rights and what it means to them. And so we can start to structure some of these packages and start to get some LOIs and some meat on the bones for some of these agreements. And so that's kind of the update after, what, Dan, 3 weeks?
Yes.
Of doing this, so we've made some pretty good progress, but happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Council, open it up to the desk for any questions, comments?
How long do you think it'll take to have a list of the naming rights, so there's something concrete there to offer?
Within the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I would like to think by the end of the month, or my plan is to come out, we may miss one for December, but each month with an update and progress report. And so at the point that we get those developed, we'll circulate them. We're having a deliverable created, a marketing piece created that will have all of those, outlined and graphics and colors, and so it's more of a real document than just here's a list, right? And so we'll have that. We know what they are. We just have to build the packages.
The other question I had was, if I was going to build a house, the house is gonna be built, the trees and the grass and all that are gonna be put in.
Correct.
Do you have any leveling on that where we do have the need for the fields? Do you actually see those coming in last, or?
The ball fields?
Soccer field?
Yeah, so flat fields, which are your soccer fields, and diamonds, which are your baseball, softball fields, those are fairly easy to construct. And because of the way that the site is laid out, you're not landlocked to where you have to go over a certain piece of the property to get to another piece. So you're not really limited where you have to put fields last so you don't disturb the ground. You can just come in off of Audrey Road to build the indoor, and you can come in off of Amy Road to build the fields. So those things can be developed in parallel with each other. Ideally, we would like to bring the fields online first and start to get traffic.
That's what I'm bringing this
Yeah.
up, yes.
They're faster to build, you know, and so, again, assuming a January 31st groundbreaking, you know, it's conceivable that the fields could be ready by the summertime.
But you still need parking to facilitate
Right.
the fields.
Yep, and there are dedicated parking lots for the fields, and so all of that can be accessed to the north side of the property. And then the south and the west side of the property can be for, building the indoor facility.
Excellent.
They were wondering if they could see it up on the screen.
This is just a list of my notes.
Yeah,
Oh, you just have your,
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had a visual.
Oh, the site plan?
yeah.
Yeah, the
I-
site plan.
I can get it, yeah.
Yeah, I figured you'd bring it with you. 'Cause I think everybody'd like to see it. We've seen it, but. Why aren't we privileged? Yes. Yeah.
I would like to ask the council's permission, if it's okay with folks. I've already got close to $5 million raised. From those people that have already committed, and,
I brought my own internet.
I would hope you would let me get with Jason and go back to the,
Oh, okay.
to those
It was
deals,
just a
since they
vision.
stepped up, like Oxnard stepped up first. We wanna see what that $1 million will get them. I think they, since they stepped up early.
First choose.
We're at that stage where we start talking to Jason, see what that.
Yeah, so Jason and I have been talking about that, and, you know, Ken Quick stepped up, and, Jason,
We wanna see the physical thing, we're ready.
as soon as he gets me a 501c3,
We're gonna do, we're not gonna do that.
as soon as we get a certificate,
We're gonna do it.
because the 501c3s are tricky, man, that's.
Yeah, and that's why we wanna be very, very careful.
Right.
We want people that have done 501c3s before, municipalities.
Very high tech.
Perfect.
I'm sitting there looking at Jeff. We just don't wanna make any mistakes, and so, we've gotta make sure we get it right.
Absolutely right.
So, but Jason and I have been talking, you know, I've got a couple of meetings next week that are really exciting, and that one's still on, by the way, on Monday, but I don't know if you can go or not.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I want you to go with me. So, anyway, got several that are very excited about participating, so, I'm just waiting on numbers.
Who we seen the second?
No, that's what.
Yes,
I was gonna wear my burnt orange, man, but it's a big wall.
Right, yeah.
I didn't wear red and black either, did you want?
It was not a good weekend in Texas.
It's good for us.
I got every kangaroo possible.
It was a great weekend in Texas for Alabama.
Oh, that's right.
So, Jason, should we, I need help to turn on my mic. So, Jason, we've gone over this, we've talked about it, I think you've talked to Mr. Beckmeyer about it as well. We had first started out, we were gonna do 3 clovers of 330 full, college baseball, pro baseball. Explain the changes, so everybody understands.
Yep. So the one cloverleaf is still that same, I can zoom in.
Is that 330 there, Jason?
Right, 340 on the big fields
Okay, center, right? Center field.
to center field, yep. And then the two others are 220, and it really is market demand. Cost benefit and market demand. Every organizer, right, so I understand that men's softball is really popular.
Yeah, yeah.
It isn't regionally,
Sure.
right? And so
So 220.
USSS, or, you know, UTRIP or USSSA, some of the bigger baseball organizations, softball organizations, and the trends that we've seen around the country, they don't like temporary fences. They cause injury. You know, you've got kids running through fences, flipping over fences. It's, you know, it's not as true. And honestly, it's, you know, if you start to tack on that extra, you know, 120 feet from 220 to 340 times that perimeter, you're adding millions of dollars, especially when we're talking about artificial turf.
Right.
So the youth market, right, which is generally kind of that 14 and under market, is by far a larger market than the college travel, summer league, adult, you know, fast pitch softball or slow pitch softball. And so, you know, you get really what these tournament organizers are looking for, but you're still accommodating, you know, slow pitch softball, and even with four fields, you can still do NCAA regionals. You can still host, you know, Pony League and some of those bigger organizations on the baseball side.
And that's what I was wanting you to tell them, because everyone was probably expecting you at 340, 330, and we've gone just to one
Yeah.
clover now. But we can still do what our goal is in the long run.
Correct. And so you can see the, you know, extensiveness of the parking. 1, 2, 3, 4 entrances off of Faudree Road, at least one off of Amy Road. Additional outbuildings on the fields, maintenance buildings have been added, and so this sits really well. We've done some 3D on this, so you get a better idea. This is looking from Amy Road.
And on the north side is where the park's gonna be, the Amyville Park, Memorial Park's gonna be, right? On the, not the north, but on the, yeah, right there.
Yep.
That spot.
This is the spot right here.
Correct.
This is,
Yeah, that's it.
what's the square footage on the indoor again? 70,000?
No, about 140,000.
140,000? Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot bigger, yeah, I was halfway.
And so, you know, one of the reasons we liked this layout was it puts the park, the Memorial Park, near the indoor sports facility. So you've got shared parking, you've got an amenity that, you know, kids can go to when brother or sister is playing inside, and then it keeps your fields kind of, you know, up to their own. And then there's one last kind of area. And so one thing I did tell our architects, I said, you're showing more trees than all of Odessa combined.
Well, that was gonna be my question, where are you bringing the trees from?
Yeah, right. But one thing that I know Larry, it was important to him, and we had already kind of gone down this road, is to have mature trees throughout the complex, for shade, for just you're kind of going into a different world. And so shade structures, bigger trees throughout, and, you know,
I've always said,
the irrigation.
nobody's laughing at your dream, you're not dreaming big enough.
Jason, I was gonna ask, are there gonna be any bathrooms around the soccer multipurpose fields?
Yeah, so,
Got them at the north end, doesn't he? And then on the south end.
yep, so you've got restroom concessions up here to the north.
Okay. Very good.
Each of, in the middle of each of these quads, you can see a little black dot. That's gonna be your press box on the 3rd floor, restrooms and concessions, with self-contained within each quad. You know, we kind of threw some things in, you know, if anything as placeholders, but a splash park, an amphitheater, you know, down by the soccer field. So, you know, maybe they work, maybe they don't. Maybe they get switched out for something else. We're still at 30,000 feet looking at this thing. And so, you know, the splash park could be a skate park. It could be, you know, a satellite playground. It could be a lot of different things.
You need to talk about that splash pad there. So, I gotta hit that conversation, get
So we're at 4,103 spaces.
Jay, one of the things that we wanna do is have a conversation on those two options,
Mhm.
and then go from there.
Okay.
But what are the possibilities? Since we're doing, might as well do it.
Right, I mean, you've got a blank slate, and you've got water coming there for
Yeah.
other things.
Yes, so, yeah, I think this is a great opportunity to go ahead and just start having that serious
Okay.
conversation about it.
Sure.
And then, options on that end, please.
Yes, sir.
So, Jason, okay. So we've got, okay, I just need to, I guess you and I need to, I could not get arranged that meeting that you asked me to arrange.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Today, I never got a call back, so, I know, I think they were traveling, but anyway,
Okay.
something we need to get flanged up pretty quick, because,
Yeah, and you know, for a lot of the folks that have already committed, right, we wanna build some packages around their needs.
Yeah.
And then we'll have these off-the-shelf other packages that we'll be able to,
right.
you know, put out to the
John,
community.
that last meeting we had, I didn't see, they didn't ask for anything crazy. Did they, I mean, they weren't.
No, sir, they did not.
It's just, they just wanted the name on the concession stand, so, which will be good. So, what I really need is that package, you say a couple more weeks?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
So because I'm getting asked a lot of questions, and by the way, one quick question that I need to know, the scoreboards on are they all gonna be the same size, or is one on the big field gonna be bigger?
Yeah, the ones on the big field will be bigger.
Okay,
Most of them, and I can send you examples, typically they're hybrid, they're video boards and scoreboards.
right,
So if you've ever seen at college sports events where they're replaying video, or you know, you can use it for advertising, put logos up, put messages up. So that's the video board side, and then you'll have kind of your traditional scores and, you know, down and distance and stuff.
just, I've been asked, some people wanna buy the scoreboards, and I don't know,
Mhm.
I got a ballpark idea, but I'm sure it's gonna be more expensive for the bigger fields, for the
Right.
tournament field, than it
Yep.
will be for the smaller fields, so,
And we'll kind of outline all of that.
yeah, I really need there's a lot of interest in that, of course, naturally.
Yep, sure. But yeah, we can talk offline, I'll give you a call tomorrow.
And Jason, can you tell them a little bit what else gonna go in the big building? Kind of remind them.
Yeah, so, the indoor components, really haven't changed. I think you can, let me see if I can zoom in here. You can see the basketball court layout. So 10 courts. The 4 on kind of this, you know, southwest side, are dedicated courts. So we wanted to include the ability to do indoor track and field. And so that's a portable structure that goes up and will fill those other, those middle courts. But it still will leave the dedicated courts on the end, so you can still do volleyball, basketball, pickleball, futsal, any other, you know, court sport. The rest of these spaces are, you can see the bleachers right now. There's a main lobby entrance and then a secondary entrance, plenty of storage, bleachers. Typically there will be an area for some sort of a medical partner. That could be a hospital system partner, it could be a physical therapist, it could be a chiropractor, as a sublease space. There typically is a membership fitness component. And so you've got a fitness offering or strength and conditioning offering. Mr. Thompson, you already mentioned a food service option, right? A cafe, concession stand.
Right, so where is it in the concession stand?
So typically there's multiple. There will be one main cafe,
Okay.
and then a second or a third satellite concession, more of what you would think of as a concession stand at a high school. Cafe is more your tables and chairs and you know, sit down sort of thing. Concession stand is, you know, hop up between periods and go grab a pretzel.
And Jason, do you wanna tell them why we're not having an Olympic-sized swimming pool?
You can, I just won't be involved.
No, we discussed that, tell them why though.
Yeah, I mean, the capital cost to build a swimming pool is really expensive, but the operating expenses and the insurance is,
And so that's why it's not included.
that's why it's not
That's
included.
what we got.
But I did get a phone call, yesterday,
Yeah.
that there's a private group trying to put together the money
Mhm.
to build a pool. And so I'm referring them to the foundation, and that group, Sports Foundation, to get with them if they raise a bunch of private money, then they can work with them, and if they decide it's something they wanna do down the road, they can do it.
Mhm.
And if they raise the money or whatever.
Right, as long as it's their own money that they're raising.
Right, exactly, and so that's what I told them, and they were aware of that, and they were more than happy to work with the foundation, and so, that'd be fine, it's gonna
Right.
take them a while to raise
Sure.
money for a pool.
Any other questions?
Council, you have further discussion, questions?
I had one, we're still planning on doing, on the baseball fields, turf in the infield and grass in the outfield?
Yeah, we were talking about that today.
Yeah.
Right now, that's what the plan is. It'll come down to budget,
Yeah.
really. It's pay me now or pay me later. The reason that baseball tournaments get canceled is not because the outfield gets wet, it's because the infield gets muddy. Right, grass outfields, that makes up the majority of the real estate of a field. And so that's an easy way to save on construction. You do have more maintenance that way, right? You gotta cut the grass, you gotta fertilize the grass, you gotta aerate the grass, you gotta have somebody, right, you gotta have lawnmowers and that sort of thing. But for the difference, the delta in cost, it's a very cost-effective way to do it.
And there's some great new grasses now that are very, very tolerant of sports.
Yeah,
Really
for sure.
good.
And,
I'm
when.
aware of, Max and I've talked about that.
And when you look at the playability of a diamond versus the playability of a soccer field, you don't get as much wear and tear on the outfield of a baseball or softball field, right? You have one person or three people in an area,
One of those spots.
in one little spot. Versus soccer, where you've got, 11 on 11 running back and forth.
So we think the soccer field's gonna be done by next summer as well?
That's the goal.
Spread the word.
Yeah.
Get this group off our back. So, I'll kinda put you into the bus.
I'm used to it. Alright, guys, I will see you next month.
All right, we'll see you
Unless
then.
you need anything
Thanks,
before.
guys.
Alright,
Thank you.
Seeing that there is no more business before this council, need a motion for item 10 to adjourn.
So moves.
I have a motion by Councilmember Mata, second by Councilmember Haney, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed indicate by saying nay. Motion passes unanimously, we are adjourned. See you back at 6 o'clock.